I'm 28, I'm married, I have a solid career, but I still feel like I'm behind in life. Now, I'm sure you may be thinking, sounds like a pretty good life to me, so what's wrong? And the truth is, for the past few years, I just feel like I've been stuck in the same routine. I wake up, I work, eat, sleep, and repeat. Now, I'm sure that sounds familiar because it's the unfortunate reality for a lot of us. And at some point, I realized this can't be it. This can't be what life is all about. And that's really why I wanted to get on here and talk a little about how I got here, why I've been feeling this way, and what I'm actually trying to do about it now. And for anyone new here, my name's Josh. I go by Mr. Chicken on YouTube. And truth be told, I've actually been putting this off for a couple years now. Mainly out of fear and embarrassment of hearing my own voice, but I just finally decided to put that fear aside and go for it. Just a little bit more about who I am as a person. Like I said, I'm 28 years old. I've been married for almost 4 years now. We do have 3 cats who are basically our children at this point, and I do love them very much. But aside from that, I do work in healthcare. About a year and a half ago, my wife and I made a pretty big move from New York to Texas. And that move was honestly one of the biggest decisions I've ever made up to this point in my life. Leaving New York, where everything's fast paced, always busy, a place that I grew up for most of my life. I have friends, family, and just a place I'm overall familiar with. And having to do it pretty much all over again here in Texas. But Texas has certainly been a positive experience so far. People are definitely more relaxed, more polite for the most part. And along with that politeness is getting used to saying hi to my neighbor, because that's something that we definitely don't do in New York. I'm used to walking past my neighbor with my head down. It is a work in progress, still working on saying hi to neighbors. Other than that, the best thing to me about Texas has been how much more affordable it is. Because compared to New York, it is night and day. The move from New York to Texas was bigger than just the location, though. It was the first time I made a decision that felt uncomfortable but necessary. And I think that's really where my mindset started to shift. Before that, I felt like I was just going through the motions of life. My days consisted of working from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. almost daily. I also worked Saturday from 9 to 3. I had Sundays off. Eventually, I did get Tuesdays off, but still, you work pretty much all day. You get home maybe around 8, 8:30. You have to eat. You probably have to take a dump after, and then what time are you left with after that? What can you really do with the rest of your day? You still have to go to sleep and do it all over again. At one point, it almost didn't feel bad anymore, which was scary because to me, it felt like I was just accepting my fate. And that's really when I had that epiphany, I guess, of there has to be more than just repeating the cycle. Because without even noticing it, time just keeps moving. And you hear it all the time. Yeah, it's cliche, but one day you do wake up and you're 28 years old and 30 is right around the corner. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being 30. It's definitely not old, but it is a big step in adulthood for sure. Really, between that age of 27 to 28, I started questioning myself a lot more. I started asking myself, am I behind financially? Should I have invested more? Should I have saved more money? Should I have a clearer plan by now? And I had just realized that most of us weren't really taught this stuff growing up. So you don't question yourself along the way. And then one day I found myself not being able to sleep. I was up late at night. I just dove into a rabbit hole on YouTube. I was just watching videos about investing, high yield savings accounts, emergency funds. Truth be told, it was overwhelming. But all of this is not meant to be easy. We can't expect to have life all figured out. The process of life is learning. Most of us are truly just learning as we go and grinding through life quietly. Now, where does that leave me? Up to this point in my life, I feel like I've just been a product of consumption, just a money machine for creators. Whether that's tangible products or even just a viewer of a YouTube video. I subconsciously became a robot, working 9 to 7 and just spending my money. I decided I needed to break that cycle. And really, after graduating, I realized that I had reached my goal, but I never really created another one after that. And who are we without aspirations, dreams, and goals? It's almost the essence of being a human being. And without goals, we just stop learning and you just sink into the comfort of your everyday life without trying to take reasonable risks. Now, I say reasonable because most people try to change their lives or reach their dreams overnight in unhealthy ways. That includes things like playing lottery tickets daily, online gambling, or doing things like day trading. Now, the truth is, we need to become the creator and invest in ourselves. Give yourself a reason to do more than just go through the motions of life. And it's not easy, and it's not going to change your life overnight. And I know that for myself as well, because I'm a brand new creator here. But there is no quick way. Real success is a slow grind of consistency. And that doesn't mean just become a YouTuber. But maybe you've had an idea for a long time for a product. Or you've never learned about 401ks or Roth IRAs. Maybe you let your credit card debt grow out of control. These are just a couple ways to invest back into yourself. And that thought is what pushed me to start taking things more seriously. Instead of chasing shortcuts, I started focusing on keeping things simple. And I started doing that by actually sitting down and making a plan. Going one step at a time, tracking my progress and being intentional. I started writing down my debts and seeing where my paychecks are actually going. You open up your bank statement. I know I opened up mine and you see your money's going to things like Amazon purchases, DoorDash orders, or things like Afterpay, and can be depressing for sure. In that process, there is almost something satisfying about it. And I think it's knowing that you're starting to take steps in the right direction. And that's especially true when you start seeing small improvements over time and you feel like you're actually building towards something. Now, that all starts with finding the motivation to begin this journey. And when I really thought about it, what motivates me is pretty simple. I want stability. I want to be able to start a family comfortably, to own a house one day and feel financially secure or independent. And I know most people, if not all of them, feel the same way. We just don't talk about it openly. And if we do, we don't take any action towards that. And that's where I find myself now. And honestly, even making this video is uncomfortable because there's a lot of self-doubt that comes with it. Thinking if anyone actually cares. Is this a waste of time? Should I just wait until I'm more ready? But the truth is, I'll never be 100% ready. At the end of the day, it's okay if no one cares or thinks it's embarrassing that I'm trying. Because I know they'll forget in maybe an hour or two or even the next day because they have their own lives. And our job is just to focus on ours. Now, I want to be able to look back 15 to 20 years from now with no regrets, knowing that I tried rather than did nothing at all. It's always been a dream of mine growing up to make YouTube videos. That's something I just kind of let go because I always made excuses of reasons to not start. And this is me finally choosing to start, to create instead of just consume. Now, that's really why I started this channel. I've always gotten a lot of value from watching other people just talk honestly about their own lives and not pretending to have everything figured out, just sharing their process. And that's why I want this to be. Me figuring things out in real time and us learning, ideally both of us learning along the way. Now, I don't have it all figured out, but I am working on it. And this is where I'm documenting that journey. And with all that being said, if anyone has any feedback or any topics they want to hear discussed, feel free to share that below. For now, peace out.